Hare Krishna, my friends, and welcome to Bhaktiville. I'm here with Bhakti Mimulus and Bhakti Greece, and hello to and Kandita's here, yay! And hello to all of our friends in Facebook on Facebook who are listening to us live or in a recording. Thank you so much for coming. We're continuing to read our teachings of Queen Kunti and her approach, her really wonderful approach, her unique approach to desperation, distress, and bewilderment. It's not an approach that's depressing, fortunately, but rather it's one that's full of hope, humility, and love. So let's just jump right in and get started. We're on chapter 14, Lord Krishna's Wonderful Activity. It begins on page 125 of the PDF or page 97 of the book. But first, let me offer my obeisances. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane. I offer my respectful obeisances unto His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, who is very dear to Lord Krishna, having taken shelter at his lotus feet. And Vancha Kalpa Tarubhyascha Kripasindhu Bhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. I also offer my respectful obeisances unto the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord, to you here and everywhere, past, present, future. They are all just like desire trees and can fulfill the desires of everyone, and they are full of compassion for the fallen, conditioned souls. Jai. Hare Krishna, Kandita. Kandita says, Haribo, nice to see you. Yes, thank you. All right, so this is a short chapter, so I'm going to read really slowly. But seriously, though, if you have questions, feel free to ask them in chat and we'll pause. So, I forgot. How could I forget this? We go for word there on the board. Oh my goodness. Someone who's close to the board, can you make it move to the 14th chapter for me? Thanks. I think we should call this Bhaktiville Sangha. Keep going. There's 2, there's that. That's okay, I got it. 6, 7, 8, plate 3, plate 4, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, plate 5, 6, 13. Oh, let's look at this for a second. Plate 7. Queen Kunti was somewhat bewildered by Krishna's human-like pastimes, especially his childhood pastimes in Vrindavan. For example, the cowherd boys of Vrindavan were able to play with him just as if he were an ordinary human child. Of course, neither they nor Krishna were ordinary boys. So here's the picture that goes with that. They're playing in the forest on a swing. It's a cute picture. Because she continues this bewilderment in this verse also. Gosh, I just can't get close enough to that to read it. All right, here I am. Okay, word for word. Gopi, the cowherd lady, Yashoda. Oh, still not close enough. I knew I was forgetting something tonight. I'm so sorry I'm not well prepared. Okay, Adade took up. Tvai, on your. Kritagasi, creating disturbances by breaking the butter pot. Dhamma, rope. Tavat, at that time. Ya, that which. Te, your. Dasha, situation. Ashru Kalila, overflooded with tears. Anjana, ointment. Sambrahma, perturbed, aksham, eyes, vaktram, face, niniya, downwards, paya, bhavanaya, by thoughts of fear, stitasya, of the situation, sa, that, mam, may, vimohyati, bewildered, be, api, even fear personified, yat, whom, bibeti, is afraid. All right, so now the Sanskrit. Gopyadade tvayi kritagasidam tavad yate dasha shru kalyanjana sambраmaksham vaktram niniyapaya bhavanaya stitasya samam vimohayati birapiyad pipeti. My dear Krishna, Yashoda took up a rope to bind you when you committed an offense, and your perturbed eyes overflooded with tears, which washed the mascara from your eyes. And you were afraid, though fear personified is afraid of you. This sight is bewildering to me. And as you recall, this is a group of verses from Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, 8th chapter. This is verse 31. So here's another explanation of the bewilderment created by the pastimes of the Supreme Lord. The Supreme Lord is the supreme in all circumstances, as already explained. Here is a specific example of the Lord's being the supreme and at the same time a plaything in the presence of his pure devotee. The Lord's pure devotee renders service unto the Lord out of unalloyed love only, and while discharging such devotional service, the pure devotee forgets the position of the Supreme Lord. The Supreme Lord also accepts the loving service of his devotees more relishably when the service is rendered spontaneous out of pure affection, without anything of reverential admiration. Generally, the Lord is worshipped by the devotees in a reverential attitude, but the Lord is meticulously pleased when the devotee, out of pure affection and love, considers the Lord to be less important than himself. The Lord's pastimes in the original abode, Goloka Vrindavan, are exchanged in that spirit. The friends of Krishna consider him one of them. They do not consider him to be of reverential importance. The parents of the Lord, who are all pure devotees, consider him a child only. The Lord accepts the chastisements of the parents more cheerfully than the prayers of the Vedic hymns. Similarly, he accepts the reproaches of his fiancées more palatably than the Vedic hymns. When Lord Krishna was present in this material world to manifest his eternal pastimes of the transcendental realm of Goloka Vrindavan as an attraction for the people in general, he displayed a unique picture of subordination before his foster mother Yashoda. The Lord, in his naturally childish, playful activities, used to spoil the stocked butter of Mother Yashoda by breaking the pots and distributing the contents to his friends and playmates, including the celebrated monkeys of Vrindavan, who took advantage of the Lord's munificence. Mother Yashoda saw this, and out of her pure love, she wanted to make a show of punishment for her transcendental child. She took a rope and threatened the Lord that she would tie him up, as is generally done in the ordinary household. Seeing the rope in the hands of Mother Yashoda, the Lord bowed down his head and began to weep just like a child, and tears rolled down his cheeks, washing off the black ointment smeared about his beautiful eyes. This picture of the Lord is adored by Kunti Devi because she is conscious of the Lord's supreme position. He is feared often by fear personified, yet he is afraid of his mother, who wanted to punish him just in an ordinary manner. Kunti was conscious of the exalted position of Krishna, whereas Yashoda was not. Therefore, Yashoda's position was more exalted than Kunti's. Mother Yashoda got the Lord as her child, and the Lord made her forget altogether that her child was the Lord himself. If Mother Yashoda had been conscious of the exalted position of the Lord, she would certainly have hesitated to punish the Lord. But she was made to forget this situation because the Lord wanted to make a complete gesture of childishness before the affectionate Yashoda. This exchange of love between the mother and the son was performed in a natural way. And Kunti, remembering the scene, was bewildered, and she could do nothing but praise the transcendental filial love. Oops, excuse me just a moment. The music turned on for me. Let me turn that off real quick. Sorry about that. So indeed, Mother Yashoda is praised for her unique position of love, for she could control even the all-powerful Lord as her beloved child. This pastime presents another opulence of Krishna, his opulence of beauty. Krishna has 6 opulences: all wealth, all strength, all influence, all knowledge, all renunciation, and all beauty. The nature of Krishna is that he is greater than the greatest and smaller than the smallest. Anyora Anyan Mahato Mahyan. And that's from the Katha Upanishad. We offer obeisances to Krishna with awe and veneration, but no one comes to Krishna with a rope saying, Krishna, you've committed an offense, and now I shall bind you. Yet, that is the prerogative of the most perfect devotee, and Krishna wants to be approached in that way. Thinking of Yashoda's opulence, Kunti Devi did not dare take the part of Yashoda, for although Kunti Devi was Krishna's aunt, she did not have the privilege to approach Krishna the way he was approached by Yashoda Mai, who was such an advanced devotee that she had the right to chastise the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That was Yashoda Mai's special prerogative. Kunti Devi was simply thinking of how fortunate was Yashoda Mai that she could threaten the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who was feared even by fear personified, fear apiyad bibeti. Who is not afraid of Krishna? No one. But Krishna is afraid of Yashoda Mai. This is the super excellence of Krishna. To give another example of such opulence, Krishna is known as Madana Mohana. Madana means Cupid. Cupid enchants everyone, but Krishna is known as Madana Mohana because he is so beautiful that he enchants even Cupid. Nonetheless, Krishna himself is enchanted by Srimati Radharani, and therefore Srimati Radharani is known as Madana Mohana Mohini, the enchanter of Cupid. Krishna is the enchanter of Cupid, and Radharani is the enchanter of the enchanter. These are very exalted spiritual understandings in Krishna consciousness. They are not fictional, imaginary, or concocted. They are facts, and every devotee can have the privilege to understand and indeed take part in Krishna's pastimes if he is actually advanced. We should not think that the privilege given to Mother Yashoda is not available to us. Everyone can have a similar privilege. If one loves Krishna as one's child, then one will have such a privilege, because the mother has the most love for the child. Even in this material world, there is no comparison to a mother's love, for a mother loves her child without any expectation of return. Of course, although that is generally true, this material world is so polluted that a mother sometimes thinks, my child will grow up and become a man, and when he earns money, I shall get it. Thus, there is still some desire to get something in exchange. But while loving Krishna, there is no selfish feelings, for that love is unalloyed, pure, free from all material gain. Anubilashita Shunyam. And that's from the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, that little phrase. We should not love Krishna for some material gain. It is not that we should say, Krishna, give us our daily bread, and then I shall love you. Krishna, give me this or give me that, and then I shall love you. There should be no such mercantile exchanges, for Krishna wants unalloyed love. And remember, I talked about unalloyed love, unalloyed, the word. So an alloy is a pure something, or an alloy is a mix of things. Sorry, so something that is not an alloy is pure. So he wants pure love. Yes, sorry about that, Bhakti. Bhakti's correcting my correction. Yes. So let's continue. When Krishna saw Mother Yashoda coming with a rope to bind him, he immediately became very much afraid, thinking, "Oh, Mother is coming to bind me." He began to cry, and the tears washed the mascara from his eyes. Looking at his mother with great respect, he appealed to her with feeling. "Yes, Mother, I've offended you. Kindly excuse me." Then he immediately bowed his head. Kunti Devi appreciated this scene, for this was another of Krishna's perfections. Although he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he puts himself under the control of Mother Yashoda. In Bhagavad Gita 7:7, the Lord says, Matta Parataram Nanyat Kinchad Asti Dhananjaya. My dear Arjuna, there is no one superior to me. Yet that Supreme Personality of Godhead, to whom no one is superior, bows down to Mother Yashoda, accepting, "My dear mother, yes, I'm an offender." And when Mother Yashoda saw that Krishna had become too much afraid of her, she also became disturbed. She did not actually want Krishna to suffer by her punishment. That was not her purpose. But it is a system, still current in India, that when a child creates too much of a disturbance, his mother may bind him up in one place. This is a very common system, so Mother Yashoda adopted it. This scene is very much appreciated by pure devotees, for it shows how much greatness there is in the Supreme Person, who plays exactly like a perfect child. When Krishna plays like a child, he plays perfectly. When he plays as the husband of 16,000 wives, he plays perfectly. When he plays as the lover of the gopis, he plays perfectly. And as the friend of the cowherd boys, he also plays perfectly. The cowherd boys all depend on Krishna. Once they wanted to take fruit from a forest of palm trees, but there was a demon called Gardabasura who would not allow anyone to enter that forest. Therefore, Krishna's cowherd friends said to Krishna, "Krishna, we want to taste that fruit. If you can arrange for it." So Krishna immediately said yes, and he went with Balaram to the forest where that demon was living with other demons who had all taken the shape of asses. When the ass demons came to kick Krishna and Balaram with their hind legs, Balaram caught one of them and threw him to the top of a tree, and the demon died. Then Krishna and Balaram killed the other demons the same way. Thus their cowherd friends were very much obliged to them. On another occasion, the cowherd boys were surrounded by fire. Not knowing anyone else but Krishna, they immediately called for him, and Krishna was ready. Yes! Thus Krishna immediately swallowed the whole fire. There were many demons that attacked the boys, and every day the boys would return to their mothers and say, "Mother, Krishna is so wonderful." And they would explain what had happened that day. And the mothers would say, "Yes, our Krishna is so wonderful." They did not know that Krishna is God, the Supreme Person. They only knew that Krishna is wonderful. That's all. And the more they perceived Krishna's wonderful activities, the more their love increased. Perhaps he might be a demigod, they thought. When Nanda Maharaj, Krishna's father, talked among his friends, the friends would talk about Krishna and say, "Oh, Nanda Maharaj, Your child Krishna is wonderful. And Nanda Maharaj would respond, yes, I see that. Maybe he's some demigod. And even that was not certain. Maybe, maybe. Thus, the inhabitants of Vrindavan do not care who is God and who is not. They love Krishna, that's all. Those who think of first analyzing Krishna to determine whether he is God are not first class devotees. The first class devotees are those who have spontaneous love for Krishna. How can we analyze Krishna? He is unlimited, and therefore it is impossible. We have limited perception, and our senses have limited potency. So, how can we study Krishna? It is not possible at all. Krishna reveals himself to a certain extent, and that much is sufficient. We should not be like the Mayavadi philosophers who try to find God by speculative deduction. Neti neti, they say. God is not this and God is not that. But what God is, they do not know. Materialistic scientists also try to find the ultimate cause, but their process is the same. Not this, not that. As much as they advance, they will always find not this, not that. But what the ultimate cause is, will they ever find? That is not possible. What to speak of finding Krishna, materialistic scientists cannot properly understand even material objects. They are trying to go to the moon, but actually they do not know what it is. If they understood what the moon is, why do they come back here? If they knew perfectly what the moon is, they would have resided there by now. They've been trying for the last 20 years to go there and stay, but they are simply seeing not this, not that. There are no living entities, and there is no possibility of our living here. Thus, they can report on what is not on the moon, but they do not know what is there. No, they do not know. And this is only one planet, one star. Oh, sorry. There are some comments here. Greece says, Krishna stole too much butter and ends up tied up. Yes. Kandita says, a Krishna conscious timeout. Yeah, that's it. Gets tied up. That's his timeout. That's funny. All right, back to the text. According to the Vedic literature, the moon is regarded as a star. The scientists say that the stars are all suns, but according to Bhagavad Gita, the stars are of the same nature as the moon. In Bhagavad Gita 10:21, Lord Krishna says, Nakshatranam aham shashi. Of stars, I am the moon. Thus the moon is just like the many stars. What is the nature of the moon? It is bright because it reflects light from the sun. Therefore, although the scientists say that the stars are many suns, we do not agree. According to the Vedic calculation, there are innumerable suns, but in every universe there is only one. What we see in this universe, we are seeing imperfectly, and our knowledge is not perfect. We cannot count how many stars or planets there are. We cannot fully understand the material things existing all around us, and therefore, how can we understand the Supreme Lord who created this universe? This is not possible. Therefore, in the Brahma Samhita 534, it is said, Pantas tu koti shata vatsara sampragmyo vayor atapi manaso muni pungavanam sopyasti yat prapada simnyap vinchintyatve Govindam, say this with me, Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bashami. Translation of this verse, I'll read to you. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord. Only the tip of the toe of whose lotus feet is approached by the yogis who aspire after the transcendental and betake themselves to pranayama by drilling the respiration, the expirations, the exercises of pranayama, or by the jnanis who try to find out the non-differentiated Brahman by the process of elimination of the mundane, extending over thousands and millions of years. Back to the text. Space is unlimited, and the Brahma Samhita suggests suppose one travels by spacecraft for millions of years at the velocity of the wind or even the speed of the mind. Everyone knows that the mind is so swift that in even 1/10,000th of a second, it can take us millions of miles away. If we have seen something millions of miles away, the mind can go there immediately. But even if we travel at that speed on a spacecraft manufactured by Muni Pungavanam, by the foremost jnanis, the greatest scientists and most thoughtful men, will that be perfection? No. The Brahma Samhita says, Sopyasti yat prapada simnya vinchintya tattve, which is only the tip of the toe of his lotus feet is approached. And so still this creation will remain inconceivable to our understanding. And Krishna has created all these things, so how can we study Krishna? If we cannot understand the things Krishna has created, how can we understand Krishna? It is not possible at all. Therefore, the mentality of Vrindavan is the perfect status of mind for devotees. The inhabitants of Vrindavan have no concern with understanding Krishna. Rather, they want to love Krishna unconditionally. It is not that they think Krishna is God and therefore I love him. In Vrindavan, Krishna does not play as God. He plays there as an ordinary cowherd boy, and although at times he proves that he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the devotees there do not care to know it. Greece says, Krishna is too awesome to understand. Yes, you got it on the nose. Kunti Devi, however, was not an inhabitant of Vrindavan. She was an inhabitant of Hastinapur, which is outside of Vrindavan. The devotees outside of Vrindavan study how great the inhabitants of Vrindavan are, but the inhabitants of Vrindavan don't care to know how great Krishna is. That is the difference between them. So our concern should be simply to love Krishna. The more we love Krishna, the more we shall become perfect. It is not necessary to understand Krishna and how he creates. Krishna explains himself in Bhagavad Gita, and we should not try to understand much more. We should not bother very much to know Krishna. That is not possible. We should simply increase our unalloyed love for Krishna. That is the perfection of life. Jai. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. That was a pretty awesome chapter. Any comments or questions? We can turn our mics up so you can use voice if you'd like.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
I like how um, it's not good to try to understand Krishna. I mean, that's not what's recommended, but to just try to worship him and serve him in love and in our relationship with him, because all these other scientists or yogis, or they're just trying to analyze and pick things apart. And that's actually one of the definitions of Maya: measuring. They just want to pick things apart. And Krishna's not attracted to that at all. And plus, it doesn't do any good. There's no way, absolutely no way that they can even come close. He's inconceivable. And so, I mean, that's just what's so amazing. It's amazing about Krishna, is that he can do that. I think every other religion, God is like worship it in awe and reverence, and that's it. And for God for Krishna to put himself in a subservient position for loving pastime is just amazing. They have no idea. It's just amazing.
Yes.
So thank you very much. And
I just want to comment on some things that Greece said in chat. He
okay.
says, Krishna can't be defined by our material means, so why bother? He just seeks our devotion. That is correct. And then he asks, Maya is illusion, right? Yes, Maya is illusion. But I also want to add a little caveat to this whole thing. Just because um, Prabhupada says we shouldn't endeavor to try and understand Krishna in these different ways. Still, the Goswamis have written such amazing philosophical treatises that are available for those who want to, who have that kind of approach to life. And they can do that. It's available. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu also is a very philosophically laden text. Um, and so Prabhupada is not saying just, throw away your mind and just love Krishna. He's not saying that. Even Bhagavad Gita that we're reading on Tuesdays, Bhagavad Gita is very philosophical and is defines the person in this life, in transcendental life, the world around us, and Krishna himself. So, in understanding Krishna in that way, not a bad thing. Those things are good. Um, So Bhakti says in chat, he's saying we will come up short if we just try to understand everything about Krishna. Yes, we will come up short because we are unable. Krishna's too big, we're too little. It's not going to happen. But
Yeah, that's true.
try to understand Krishna through the various Vaishnava literatures. I say go for it. And we have to understand Krishna to understand our relationship with him. The more I read the different Prabhupada's different books, the more I appreciate and understand uh, the Vaishnava approach. Bhakti also says in chat, and we mostly know about his human form, not his other myriad forms. It's true. There's not, well, there's the different incarnations, but yeah, I mean, he comes as an avatar in every 8,400,000 species of life. There's an avatar for every one of them. I used to joke with a friend of mine. It's like, I want to get to know Krishna's eggplant avatar. It's like every species of life. So, anyway,
Eggplant avatar.
it
Wow.
says in Srimad Bhagavatam, he comes in every species of
Wow.
life. So it's like, oh,
Far out. My goodness.
all right. Enough for my hilarity. This is very serious. Let's get serious. So just try to
Okay.
understand and approach Krishna with love. That's the last line of Srila Prabhupada here. Oh, and I did want to say something else. So just because Yashoda has this approach where Krishna is inferior because he's the baby, that isn't necessarily how we should think of Krishna as inferior to us. So our approach as bhaktas is to chant and read and remember and engage in the different kinds of devotional service so that our relationship with Krishna is revealed. And until then, we should stay somewhat neutral. Even reverential is not so bad. Greece says more like the teenage Krishna. Krishna is always a teenager, 16, age 16. Doesn't get any older than that, even though he's the oldest of everyone, everywhere. So I just wanted to add that little thing there. Great. Anyone else? Any other little strings of thought that you want to add or correct me on? No? All right. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank
I
Oh,
just
one more.
wanted to say how beautiful the deities look. You
Oh,
change their outfits.
I did.
Yeah,
I did. I even
yeah,
changed the floor to match.
really.
The
I
floor
have
is
to look.
slightly blue. Slightly
Where,
blue.
like,
No, this floor
like,
that we're sitting on,
oh, yeah.
temple room floor,
I really didn't notice that.
slightly
Oh,
blue.
yeah, it is. It really is.
I had to make a new floor so that I
Was
could
that
do that.
hard?
No, it's
Did you
just
have